but it's not male privilege. It's more a proximity to masculinity privilege. That's a survival skill because I am harmed on a daily basis for who I am.
Okay. Hello everyone and welcome back to the channel. My name is Alexis Blake and I am a trans woman and I share my life stories and opinions on social media. Today we're doing somewhat of an opinion video. This post caught my eye and I want to talk about it. So, can trans women have male privilege? Spoiler alert, yes. Because I know that, because I am a trans woman and I have had male privilege. I'm not saying once transitioned, that's a whole different thing. We're talking about early stages before, during transition. Because there's this content creator and this video, right, rein it in, take the sass down a level and calm down. We're going to come at this from a neutral angle and I'm going to try and look at my opinion and their opinion because they are a little bit different and I'm going to try and see where they're coming from, but we're just going to react. Let's just watch it together and then I think we're just going to go. We're going to watch the video together. We'll watch the whole thing and then I just want to talk about a couple of things that I kind of disagree with. Okay, let's go. Before we jump into the video, I did want to just check what are basic examples of male privilege because this content creator talks about them not having these things. Examples of male privilege include being more likely to be hired, promoted and paid more for work for equal value, having your gender widely represented as the default in media, newspapers, fiction, TV and films, being far less likely to experience intimate partner violence, sexual harassment at work or on the street, and especially if you are a heterosexual and cisgender, your gender is aligned with the sex. Okay. Social norms allowing you to take up more physical space and dominate conversations while not being expected to continually smile or apologise. Not being judged as selfish if you choose to pursue a career instead of staying at home with the kids. Facing few professional consequences, putting less time and money into your appearance to hide aging, etc. Okay, let's watch the video.
I don't think you're gonna like this response very much, which is why it's critical that you listen to this with an open mind. I don't have male privilege. Trans femmes like me, regardless of what we were assigned at birth or how society attempted to condition us, do not have male privilege. We're not men. You can't have male privilege if you're not a man, right? If I'm being afforded male privilege in any setting, it's because I'm being misgendered. And if you understood the mental health toll it takes on people like me to be misgendered, you would see it's not a privilege at all. To be misgendered is to incur harm, which is the opposite of privilege. Personally, there are some select instances in which I choose to pass as a man for my own safety. It's horrible and I hate it, but sometimes I have to do it because I know that being misgendered, as harmful as that is, may be safer than what would happen if people knew who I actually was. The option to inflict a lesser harm upon myself based off the world we live in is a privilege, but it's not male privilege. It's more a proximity to masculinity privilege. That's a survival skill because I am harmed on a daily basis for who I am.
Okay, so I'm going to talk about me. God, that sounded so dramatic. I want to talk about my experiences and how my opinions form to slightly differ to this content creator. So I grew up as a boy and I spent 27 years as a boy and then into a man. And I did have male privilege. At the time, I didn't know it because I was in it. But now I'm transitioned. Looking back, I can see that I did. One of the most clear examples of male privilege is being alone at night. I've spoke about this a little bit recently, but being out in the world at night time, presenting as a woman or being perceived that way, that is completely different to being perceived as a man. If I was in a hoodie and joggers with my old facial hair and short hair, I felt so much safer than I do now. So I just want to touch on that point. I don't want to go too much into it because I don't want to sound like I'm hating on the world because I'm really not. And I'm very fortunate and happy in my transition. But there is some things that I've noticed about how I am treated different now. Some good things, don't get me wrong, it's not all bad. And then some not as good things as well. The taking up space thing really resonates with me. I don't know why and I can't explain it, but I don't know. I don't know how to explain it. Taking up space as a man was just a natural thing and I can't explain it. I need to think of an example. I just feel like I was listened to more and I don't know how else to explain it and I can't think of specific examples. There is, I'm sure, many, but I feel like my voice was heard more in social situations and I I just took up more space. I don't know how else to explain it. I definitely had male privilege, and I think it's really important as a trans woman to acknowledge that's something that we have, because it's something that we need to let go of. Because once transition fully begins and the world starts to look at us different, those privileges are taken away from us. We now see things from the other side, some good and some bad. Let's watch this little section of the clip again and I'll explain what I mean.
I don't have male privilege. Trans femmes like me, regardless of what we were assigned at birth or how society attempted to condition us, do not have male privilege. We're not men. You can't have male privilege if you're not a man, right?
I'm not sure if this content creator is transitioning from one gender to the other, or if they're non-binary and expressing in more of a feminine way. But the thing is, society... I had all the words last night. I've got it. Okay, society is binary. We have men and women. That's just the way that society is. And that's because most people fall in either of those categories, whether it be biological men as men, biological women as women, or trans people opposite. Obviously there is non-binary in there, and I do appreciate that. But as society as a whole, as a majority, it is very binary. The thing is as well, those privileges aren't necessarily coming from what you were born as, it's coming in from what you appear as. So if you are seen as male, depending on whatever's going on underneath, that's what society has assigned you as, and same as female. So I think that's just a really interesting thing to sort of touch on. And Jamie said, if I am being afforded male privilege, that's because I'm being misgendered. Misgendering's not great. I've had it many times and I understand that. I get it on most videos, if not all videos. But I just want to pause for a second, because we're not talking about misgendering. So I want to put that to one side. If I am being afforded male privilege, if you're being given male privilege, you therefore have male privilege. I don't know how else to explain it, because this person doesn't want it. I understand that, and I didn't want the male privilege at the start of my transition, but when I was still very visibly male, I still had it because that's what the world saw me as. So I think if society's giving you this male privilege, you therefore have it. And there's one thing that really, this is the thing that really, I don't want to say wound me up because I'm going to keep really calm, but this is something that really bothered me with this video. There are some select instances where I choose to pass as a man for my own safety. That sentence right there is male privilege. I don't know how else to say it. You are literally using the system that is designed for men to make sure you're safe and you do not incur harm. Women cannot do that. It's, well, okay. Whew. It's warm in here. I'm getting warm. Okay, calm down, calm down. The basics of this is, I understand that Jamie doesn't want male privilege and that's not how they want the world to see them. And I get that. I do genuinely get that. But the fact is, if you are using the system that you hate so much to your advantage in certain situations, then that male privilege is definitely within you. I absolutely use that. If I was early on in my transition, way before surgeries and my hair was growing and I still looked quite male, if I wanted to be safe and go to the shops on a night on my own, as an example, I wouldn't put makeup on, I wouldn't put hair in, I would wear a hoodie, and I would pass as a male because I knew I was safer. That is male privilege, because women do not have that privilege because they can't take it all off. That is who they are. I think it's okay to admit sometimes trans people have male privilege. There's nothing wrong with that. It's society, the male privilege within society, that's the issue here. But having it and admitting that, I think that's a very encouraging thing. So I understand they don't want the privilege, but they're admitting to having it in the video by saying that they use it. They use a system for their benefit. Obviously, I understand why. For the safety element, I do appreciate that. It's also what the world sees. We gender people immediately with our eyes. Within 0.03 seconds, we gender people, and that is, again, a safety thing. Women do it, and sorry, I don't want to sound like a mansplaining. That's the last thing I would ever want to do. I've noticed more now when I'm out in a situation where I'm alone, I gender people and I make note if there are men around, which is a very odd thing. And as a very silly instance, I get up really early for work in the morning and it's dark outside and I have to go out there on my own. It terrifies me. It absolutely terrifies me. And nothing's ever happened, touch wood, and Liam's just inside. That fear that I have now, I did not have that 3 years ago. I could happily do that and I didn't feel that fear. It's just frustrating. And obviously I've only dealt with it for 3 years. Women have been dealing with this for thousands of years. There is also the counterpoint where I'm going to somewhat agree with Jamie, and that is when you're a visible trans person, that does make you more of a target. being a visible trans woman is much more unsafe than being a man out in the world. And then I couldn't say, do I feel safer as a woman? Do you know what? Interesting question I'm going to put to myself. Would I feel safer now out at night on my own if I pass as a woman or as a visible trans woman? Which one would I feel safer as? Oh my gosh, that's really hard. I think I feel safer now. If it's like a spectrum, let's say we've got male out at night feeling safe, and then I would say I have who I am now and how I present to the world now, feeling safe and not safe. And then as a visible trans woman, I would say not very safe at all. And that's only because, I don't know. That's really hard. That's a really hard question. It's a really hard question. I appreciate that trans people are more at risk and our safety is more in danger. I do obviously understand that. But just going back to what Jamie was saying about the male privilege, just to sum up the video. Sorry if I've been on a bit here, there and everywhere in this video, and if I've been a bit ranty in this video. If society is giving you the male privilege and you are also using it to your advantage to stay safe, then you do have male privilege. I had it. There's nothing wrong with that. It's what you do to grow from that. And whether full transition is in the works for this individual, I don't know. But for some people, male privilege was never an option. Women, I'm talking about women. I think to experience that side of the coin and then to go to the other one, it's very interesting from like a social perspective. It's also terrifying because then I have now a glimpse into what women deal with on a daily basis. Yeah. I think that's a good explanation. Also, I just want to mention as well, with this content creator, I've seen some of their videos before and I get the sense that they're very much like in their lane. They know their opinion, they know their thoughts and views, and it doesn't seem that they are open to understanding different perspectives and different opinions and different point of views. And I did agree with some of the things Jamie was saying in that video, and then I disagreed with some of them, but I feel like they have these very strict, I don't want to say extreme because that's not the word, very much like trans activist, extreme, I don't want to say extreme, very much trans activist point of views, and they're not open to other ideas, interpretations of it. And that's not a conversation, that is just, this is my opinion, if you disagree with it, you're transphobic. It's kind of given that. Also, Jamie was talking about misgendering being harmful, and I do understand that, but that was not what the video was about. The video was about male privilege, and I'm not sure how we got from A to B, but using that as a defense mechanism, I'm not really going to agree with that. Obviously, misgendering is its own thing and it's not nice, but that's nothing to do with what you were talking about. I just think they were using that for their defense, and I wasn't really agreeing with that point. But trans safety, I do understand that, being a trans woman myself. I would be really interested to know your thoughts in the comments below. As I always ask, please keep them as nice as possible and constructive as possible. I do like reading your comments, so please leave me anything you want. And if you want to say, no, that's not right, if you want me to talk about anything in particular, please also comment that below. Sorry, it's very warm in here and my hair's starting to stick to me. If you do enjoy this kind of content, please don't forget to like, subscribe and hit that notification bell. I post 2 videos a week talking about these sorts of things, or my life, or lots of different things. It's always great to see everyone come back. So thank you so much for watching, and I will see you guys in the next video. Goodbye. I'm just gonna have to slide off the couch again. Goodbye.